Hello and welcome to another episode of The Racing Report. My name is Rob Peeters and I am your host for this fabulous little half hour where we discuss all things motor racing. And we've got a big one coming up, the Super Bowl of all NASCAR races, the Daytona 500. It is finally here. It is this weekend, and we're going to recap all the news and notes that you need to know to get you ready for the great American race. So, without further ado, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Again, my name is Rob Peeters. You can find me on social media at RPEETERS33. Wherever you want, I'm on Twitter, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, however you want to get that. And also don't forget to download the WTHR app on your smart TV and stream the Racing Report anytime you want. You can also follow WTHR on YouTube by subscribing, and then you'll get every single Racing Report episode as it comes out. And so get ready, because we're also going to be putting out a Daytona 500 preview. It'll be exclusive, talking about the Daytona 500 coming up here in a couple of days. So don't miss that. And be sure to stay tuned for all the racing news. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into some of the news of the week of racing. We're going ahead and start off with Formula One news, because even though the Formula One season's still got about a month away, we've got a little bit of news to talk about, especially since we're going to get some of those car launches coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So, we'll start off with some news of Williams. Williams has announced a new title sponsor with Australian software company Atlassian. That team will now be called Atlassian Williams F1 Team. And it has been described as, quote-unquote, the biggest partnership deal in Williams' 48-year history. So some big news there. Get used to be calling Williams the Atlassian Williams F1 team. And in addition to that, Williams car launch, like I just said earlier, is going to be happening on February 14th. So if you're watching this before February 14th, get ready, because that's coming out. And if you're watching this after February 14th, let me know what you think about Williams' car launch. Let me know what you think about the FW47, because that's going to be coming out. And then we'll have a bunch of other Formula One car launches coming along in the next coming weeks, all throughout the month of February. So we're going to get ready for that. Can't believe it. 2025 Formula One season rookie, a record number of rookies on the grid. A lot to look forward to. We'll talk about the silly season coming up here in the next couple of months, or a couple of weeks, I should say, on the Racing Report. Finally, in the world of Formula One, this is pretty big. We've talked about a lot about broadcast television news, broadcast rights getting moved around here and there. But one of the bigger ones that is happening is the ESPN Formula One deal. Now, ESPN's F1 deal is set to expire at the end of 2025. And according to Racer and Motorsport.com and many other sources, the two firms' exclusive negotiating deal window has officially passed. So there was a window where Formula One had the exclusive renegotiating rights with ESPN. And now that has gone, so now Formula One is free to speak with other broadcasters about potentially picking up the Formula One broadcast rights in 2026. And the big hot rumor going around is that one of those has been Netflix. Now, Netflix obviously has been trying to get into the live sports game, because I think that's where the future of streaming is going. So we've already seen Netflix get out. They've got an NFL Christmas game. They've got the WWE now. They had the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. Lots of different sports properties are coming to Netflix. And it makes sense a little bit for Netflix to want to reach out to Formula One about potentially picking up these rights, because Drive to Survive is so popular in the United States, and that's where these rights would go. They would obviously be the United States Formula One rights. So I'll be curious to see how this goes. I don't know if ESPN's going to pony up the money that I think F1 wants. And again, if they did do that, I really wonder if they would even be able to afford to run the races commercial free, the practice, the qualifying. I mean, they run all of that basically commercial free. And the big key for ESPN is going to be trying to keep that status quo. But I think Netflix might offer them the best opportunity to keep some of those, to keep those sessions commercial free. Again, I don't know. It'll be curious to see I'll be curious to see how this plays out because, again, I wasn't sure that ESPN was going to re-up after their first broadcasting deal expired, but they did. F1 kept them on, but now their second deal is set to expire here at the end of the season. So I'm kind of curious to see where all that goes, where Formula One's going to be broadcast in the next year. All of that coming soon here. So when it does happen, be sure to stay tuned to the Racing Report because we will talk about it. Now, that concludes Formula One news for today. Now let's move on into the world of IndyCar because there was a huge leadership shakeup that was announced over the past week in the world of IndyCar. Penske Entertainment has officially named Indianapolis Motor Speedway president Doug Boles as IndyCar president, replacing the outgoing Jay Fry, who served in that role for a little under 11 years. And so Doug Boles is going to be taking over as IndyCar president and continuing to do his duties with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So if you already thought Doug Boles was a busy man, I'm sure he's going to be even more busy now. But that's the business of racing now. And apparently, I was curious to see this because Mark Miles doesn't seem to want to discuss why the leadership change. But a lot of IndyCar insiders, with Marshall Pruitt mainly, seem to know that this was on the horizon as early as Nashville. So back in September, when IndyCar finale was happening at Nashville, it seemed like a lot of the IndyCar insiders were made aware that, hey, a leadership change could be coming in IndyCar. They weren't sure if that was going to happen. Time went by. Nothing was announced. Now, finally, we're less than a month before the season's supposed to start. And now we've got that news that Jay Fry has been replaced with Doug Boles. Now, that's not the only change that has affected the IndyCar leadership structure. Mark Sibla was promoted to Senior Vice President of Competition and Operations. Race Director Kyle Novak has been elevated to IndyCar's VP of Officiating and Race Control. Penske Communications Vice President Alex Damron is now IndyCar's new Chief Marketing Officer, and Louis Kissinger has been promoted to IMS Operations General Manager. So a lot of shakeups already in that leadership role within IndyCar. We'll see what that brings. I'm honestly kind of excited for it to see what Doug Boles is able to bring to the series, because Doug Boles has done an immense job with the IMS since he's taken over as president. I think anybody who's been to IMS will say just how great a job Doug does. And this new rule, how's that going to change? Is that going to affect anything? I don't really think it's going to affect anything at IMS, but I'm curious to see what he oversees when it comes to IndyCar. What kind of changes might we be seeing? Because a lot of people, myself included, have been very critical of how IndyCar has been operating the past several years. So if maybe Doug Boles can bring some fresh perspective in, that might help, but ultimately, Mark Miles is still CEO. That's not changing. But as far as why Jay Fry was replaced, Mark Miles isn't going to say. Marshall Pruitt asked him. I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't think we're going to find out an answer until maybe someone does even more digging and tries to figure out exactly what went down there to lead to that kind of leadership change. But that is something that has happened. So just be aware of that when we get into March, when the IndyCar season officially resumes. Now let's move on into some NASCAR news, because there's a decent amount of it to touch on before we start previewing the Daytona 500 and talking about all of the races that are coming up this weekend. So number one, we'll start off with the NASCAR news. This is pretty big. This is some pretty big news that definitely got my attention. Sunoco, a longtime partner as NASCAR's official fuel supplier since 2004, when it replaced Unocal 76. That deal is set to expire at the end of this year. And NASCAR says it is currently having talks with other fuel suppliers, but Sunoco is also still a member of those talks. So Sunoco could still remain with NASCAR, but we're not sure. Now, according to J-Ski and according to the Sports Business Journal, the Sunoco seems to have shifted their brand their brand direction or their company's direction in the last couple of years. They sold off a bunch of independent gas stations to 7-Eleven, and they went from being, the business to consumer more to a B2B fuel supplier for, various different gas stations and fuel companies and whatnot. So not necessarily to say that that's all that different. I mean, a B2B fuel supplier would still make sense for NASCAR. Sunoco, I mean, that business strategy, I think, would still make sense for Sunoco as well. But again, when you're going through all these leadership changes, you're evaluating everything, you're evaluating your marketing budget, all that stuff. Anything can change. A lot can happen, and a lot can change. So we'll have to monitor that in the next several months towards the end of the year to see where that goes, if NASCAR has a new fuel supplier for 2026, or if Sunoco remains as a NASCAR partner. Be very interesting to see how that plays out. Finally, or not finally, but next up in the world of NASCAR, this was some pretty big, I don't know if it's gotten lost in the jumble, but it felt like it's not getting as much attention as maybe something like this I would think should get. So NASCAR President Steve Phelps says that NASCAR is exploring the possibility of selling equity stakes in the sport. Now, this comes after years. I mean, since NASCAR was founded, it's been run by the France family. It's been a private business. It can do what it wants. Now, Steve Phelps is saying, we might sell some stakes in it to other brands or other companies to see how we can build NASCAR into something even bigger than what it is now. A lot of people are probably going to have feelings on that, very strong feelings. I'll wait to see what some of those terms come out to mean before I really make any judgments. But, it is a very interesting shift in the way NASCAR has done business. Again, they have been a family-owned business up until, I would argue, about 2018 when Brian France stepped down as CEO. And, in that time, we have seen a lot of changes. Steve Phelps, Steve O'Donnell really taking over. Jim France is still kind of a part of that, but not necessarily on the NASCAR side. I think I'll be curious to see where this goes. I will be very, very curious to see where this goes and what companies want to have a stake in NASCAR. What companies see NASCAR maybe as good for their brand. I'm curious to see what companies that are. So, in addition to that, Steve Phelps also said there is, quote unquote, no BS about NASCAR being optimistic about adding a fourth engine manufacturer, but he also says that car makers no longer make V8 engines, or at least a lot of them don't make V8 engines anymore. I think my car is a V6 or a V4, a four-cylinder engine. So, and that was made in 2019, and it's a Toyota Corolla. I mean, that that should tell you everything. But also that means that current industry analysts are speculating that it could cost about 9 figures to actually start up a fourth NASCAR program. So it's a huge financial ask for a car manufacturer to come in and start up a new NASCAR company, a new NASCAR program. And a lot of that, again, is the fact that they don't make V8 engines. So I'm curious about that. That could explain why the horsepower is still at 550. I don't buy that necessarily. I think you could have a V6 engine run 1,000 RPM or 1,000 horsepower. I think you could do that. It's not impossible. IndyCar runs V6 engines that go 200 miles an hour. I mean, the sound would be different, yes, but it could be doable. It could be doable. I mean, current NASCAR Cup cars are loud. I mean, if you've been to a NASCAR race since the introduction of the Gen 7, I mean, those cars are loud. They're really loud. And it's not like it's a screaming, high-pitched, loud sound from the engine pulling 100,000 RPMs or anything. We're looking at a hulking, low-frequency sound that's just piercing on the ears and just almost rattles the bones in your body. So maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing. Maybe that wouldn't inherently be a bad thing You'd still have loud sounding cars, but they wouldn't be as loud as they are now. I don't know. Again, I'm speculating about that. I don't know what NASCAR is going to do when it comes to adding a fourth manufacturer. They've been talking about this for what feels like forever, since Dodge left at the end of 2012. So I would love to see a fourth manufacturer come in. Again, I don't think it's going to be Dodge. I really doubt that it's going to be Dodge. Dodge and Stellantis really seem to have a huge push towards EVs. So I find it doubtful that Dodge, but again, a lot of people have pointed out Honda as a possibility. I can see Honda coming in. I can see there being kind of this American manufacturer versus Japanese manufacturer kind of rivalry between Chevrolet and Ford and Toyota and Honda. But again, Hondas are very, very popular cars. A lot of people buy Hondas. That could be an option, but I don't know. We'll see. Moving on into less crazy news, now more like individual driver team sponsor news. Jeffrey Earnhardt, Kerry Earnhardt's son, nephew of Dale Earnhardt, the late Dale Earnhardt. Jeffrey Earnhardt will run a part-time Xfinity Series schedule with Sam Hunt Racing with sponsorship from Forever Lawn. Now, Sam Hunt Racing has not announced those races yet, but we do know that Jeffrey will drive a Sam Hunt Racing Toyota in the Xfinity Series at a limited basis. So good news for Jeffrey. Obviously, always trying to get more opportunities, and he's had decent runs when he's gotten good opportunities. I think about that RCR run where he had Larry McReynolds as his crew chief at Talladega in the Xfinity Series, finished second. It's crazy to me that couldn't go on for another race. They couldn't get another race. They couldn't go run Daytona the next year with that. That's what I would have done immediately. I would have said, all right, Jeffrey, we'll put you in another car. All right, Larry Mack, we'll put you as crew chief. You guys go do that at Daytona, see if we can't get one spot higher. I would have done that, but I'm not Richard Childress. Anyway, and some sad news for a driver. Christian Rose, who was originally scheduled to compete in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, number 44 for Nice Motorsports, has now announced that due to unforeseen sponsorship challenges, he will not be racing this year. He'll be replaced by Bailey Curry starting on an interim basis at Daytona. But Christian Rose was supposed to run the full Truck Series schedule with Nice Motorsports, who, by the way, is celebrating their 10th anniversary in Truck Series this year. Christian Rose will not be participating in the 2025 Truck Series full-time. It's possible he could come back in a part-time role, but as of right now, that deal that he had put together has unfortunately fallen through. And that's the harsh reality of auto racing and the hard business that can happen when trying to find a sponsor. But of course, this has happened many times before. It won't be the last time it happens, but it is just a bummer there for Christian Rose. And then this is pretty news. Saying in the truck series realm, Akinori Ogata is forming his own NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series team and will run a limited schedule in the number 63 Toyota Tundra beginning next week at Atlanta Motor Speedway. NASCAR Euro Series driver Kenko Miura, he will drive on the road courses for the team, but Ogata will drive the majority of those races on the ovals. So some good news there. Good to see Akinori Ogata starting up a new team, and we're having another team in the Truck Series. And for the final piece of NASCAR news before we take our first break here, Norm Benning is planning on running a couple of Truck Series races in 2025, beginning this weekend at Daytona, and then later both Martinsville races. So the Martinsville race in the spring, Martinsville race in the fall, and then he also plans to run Talladega in the fall in the Craftsman Truck Series. So that is it for NASCAR news right now. But don't go anywhere, because when we come back from our break, we're going to be talking about everything you need to know to get ready for the Daytona 500. We're going to preview our Daytona 500 preview show, and we're also going to talk about the fact that the Formula E season, we got another Formula E race also this weekend. So there's a lot of racing coming back. Nature is healing, ladies and gentlemen. The racing season is finally back in full swing. We got NASCAR, we got Formula E, we got all sorts of things coming, and then IndyCar and Formula One are starting in the coming weeks as well. So it's going to be a gosh darn good time if you're a race fan. So don't go anywhere. We'll talk about all of that when we come back. You're watching The Racing Report. All right, welcome back to The Racing Report. My name is Rob Peeters. Thanks for joining us today. And if you're just joining us, we just recapped all of the NASCAR news. And now we're going to be talking about the big things that are happening this weekend. NASCAR is coming to Daytona. The NASCAR season is back. We've got ARCA race. We got ARCA. We got trucks. We got Xfinity. We got Cup. We got practice, qualifying, all of that. It's not speed weeks. It's speed days. But hey, it's back. So when we're recording this, as of right now, as of the time I'm recording this, I don't know what the starting lineup for the Daytona 500 is going to be. I don't know what the starting lineup for the Xfinity race is going to be. I don't know what the starting lineup for the truck or the ARCA race is going to be. But we do know who's going to be entered in it. We do know some of the big storylines that are going into it. So let's start off with ARCA. Obviously, the big news there, Helio Castroneves in contention to potentially make an ARCA race and before his Cup debut, which he will make regardless of what happens, whether or not he qualifies or not. He will have that open exemption provisional that will allow him to get into the Daytona 500 with Trackhouse Racing, though if he has to use that, he will not receive points or prize money or anything. Remember that. But in the ARCA race, hey, if he qualifies, he could win. He can absolutely win, keep the points. He's not going to run any other ARCA races this year, but he is running that race, so that will be really cool. And again, it can be hard to qualify for this ARCA race. We've got a huge entry list in ARCA, and we've got a lot of different drivers. Cletus McFarland, if you are familiar with Cletus McFarland, you should be watching the ARCA race this weekend because he will be attempting that. He will be attempting to qualify that for that race. Also got a lot of other drivers that are, attempting the ARCA race. Greenwood's own Brayton Laster will be attempting that race. I hope to maybe. I haven't done anything yet, but I'd like to talk to him for a future Racing Report episode, so we'll see if he says yes to that, especially if he qualifies for the Daytona. But again, a lot of things going on in the ARCA race. Big news there. It'll also be on Fox. It will be on Big Fox, so you won't need cable to watch this ARCA race. And if I'm correct, this is the first ARCA race since I believe the 90s to be broadcast on over-the-air television for you to not need cable to watch an ARCA race. And I think that is great for the series. It is great for the sport. And the fact that it's on noon on Fox. I mean, Saturday is going to be great because you get the ARCA race at noon, and then at 5 o'clock or about 4:30, you got the Xfinity race on the CW. So again, on Saturday and Sunday as well, you do not need cable to watch these races. And that is the coolest part about it, is that NASCAR has entered into this new era where they're really pushing that kind of, over the air. They see where TV's going. Now, yes, the Cup Series, a lot of races on cable, a lot of races behind a streaming paywall, but the entire Xfinity Series is free. As long as you have an antenna, and as long as you can pick up the CW, you can watch the Xfinity Series this year. So that's pretty cool. But as I was saying, ARCA race coming up on Saturday, be on Big Fox, so be ready for that. And then the Truck Series, always the fun time. Kick off the Friday night Truck Series race before Daytona. Always one of my favorite races that I look forward to. I enjoy watching. It's just a great vibe. There's nothing like under the lights for a truck race at Daytona. It just feels right, But that's coming up on Friday on FS1. So again, that'll be on cable, so you don't have to have cable or some sort of streaming partner like YouTube TV, Hulu with Live TV, Fubo TV, whatever, to get that. So be aware of that. But the Truck Series is going to be on FS1, and a lot of news to talk about that. Daniel Hemrick, he's running full time in the Truck Series now. Not Christian Eckes. I get them confused. They kind of look the same. Chandler Smith, in addition to running the Daytona 500 for Garage 66, formerly Motorsports Business Management, he'll also be running the Truck Series full time. So for FRM. So you could be seeing, you're going to see, and then of course Justin Haley and Michael McDowell will be a couple of Cup drivers that will be racing in it. So it's a pretty big, pretty nice looking lineup out there for the Truck Series. So a lot of things to look forward to. It'll start off the Truck Series. I don't know who's going to win. Don't even ask me. I don't have any predictions. It's plate racing. You can't make predictions. If you're asking me, who do you think is going to win the Truck race? I don't know. I don't know. It could be anybody. Could it be Michael McDowell? Absolutely. I don't see why it couldn't be. Could it be Justin Haley? Sure. They're both fine plate racers, or super speedway racers, I should say. But again, the Truck Series is always a crapshoot, kind of. You don't know who's going to win that race. And also Johnny Sauter is going to be in it too. Can't get rid of him. He's like a cockroach. Can't get rid of him. But then, like I was talking about, the Xfinity Series coming up here. I think the Xfinity Series, once again, is set to be another competitive season. We're setting up for another competitive season, and I'm thrilled about it because, again, even though we graduated a handful of drivers into the Cup Series from last year, there's still a lot. There's still a lot that are in the Xfinity Series that are going to make for a fun season. You know, of course, I will say the Xfinity Series, I would be pretty confident picking Austin Hill to win at Daytona, considering the fact that he's done it now the last several years, in either the trucks or the Xfinity Series. So I would probably say if you're going to bet on anybody, probably maybe put $10 down on Austin Hill. You might win some money. You also might lose. I'm not encouraging gambling. I'm just saying for the gamblers out there, might not be a bad idea to maybe put down a little bit of money on Austin Hill to win that Xfinity Series race. But anyway, it will be interesting to see how the CW's coverage for the Xfinity Series race at Daytona goes, because again, actually, and this was not included in the news article because I wanted to save it for this, the CW actually unveiled what their graphics package is going to look like. Now, if you were watching the Super Bowl last weekend, you saw Fox's abysmal new scorebook, just devoid of any, real creativity or design process. The CW is going to look a lot better than that. And actually, I'm kind of curious to see how it does, because if you recall how Fox Sports used to have their NASCAR little ticker up at the top, and it used to be a little box that it would rotate around. I'm not talking about the scrolling one from the Speed days or from the pre-2013 days. I'm talking about that 2014 to about 2017 graphics package that Fox had. And this will be very similar to that. CW was going to do something very similar, except instead of being up at the top, it's going to be at the bottom of your screen. So you're going to have the rolling scoreboard, the rolling, not ticker, but you're going to have the graphics on the bottom of the screen, which is very, very new. I think it's been a long time. I want to say NBC at one point had this for either Champ Car coverage or ALMS coverage when they were doing it back in the late 2000s. That they had the ticker was scrolling on the bottom, and this was obviously this was after they lost the NASCAR rights and before they got them again. And I think that might be the last time we've really seen a ticker be on the bottom. Yes, TNT's wide open coverage from back in the day did have the bottom ticker, but it's not like this. It's not anywhere like this. It's very different, but it looks clean. And I'll be curious to see what it looks like on screen when we actually get to Daytona. Now, obviously, I haven't talked much about the Daytona 500 since we are running low on time here on the Racing Report, but that's okay, because stay tuned, because very soon we're going to have a Daytona 500 specific preview episode. So make sure to subscribe to WTHR on YouTube, and make sure to keep watching WTHR Plus for when that airs, because we're going to get you ready for the Great American Race, which is coming up this Sunday at 2:30 p.m. on Fox. Now, the race is supposed to go green around 2:57, maybe 3 o'clock-ish, maybe a little after 3. So, again, enjoy your morning. Don't feel like you have to skip church or anything. You've got plenty of time on Sunday morning to do anything. Obviously it's February and there's some winter weather coming through, so maybe you're not doing yard work, but maybe you could sleep in too. That's also an option. You could sleep in, maybe. I don't know how late people sleep in, but that's an option too. So the Daytona 500. So it looks like it's going to be another one of those Daytona 500s that starts in the daytime and ends in the nighttime. There's been some discussion about that on the internet as well. But if you want to let me know, actually, that's a great question. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know, do you prefer the Daytona 500 to end at night or during the day? Or in the afternoon, I should say. Anyway, that is it for this episode of the Racing Report. I really appreciate you guys tuning in as always. I'm super excited for the Daytona 500. And again, like I've been saying, we've got a Daytona 500 a Daytona 500 only. We're only talking about Daytona 500, not Xfinity, not trucks, not ARCA, none of that. We're only talking about Daytona 500. It'll be coming to WTHR Plus very, very soon, so be ready for that. But until then, stay tuned to WTHR Plus for more Racing Report episodes, as well as more content and coverage from all over the world. Anyway, Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. It's RPEETERS33. I am available there. So thank you again for watching. We hope to see you next week, and we hope to see you watching the Daytona 500 preview episode that's coming up. All that before. So again, thank you for watching. My name is Rob Peeters, and this has been The Racing Report.